And Greg, let's begin with that Texas case. The justices ruling 5-3 in favor of the abortion clinics. What was at issue here?
What was at issue were regulations that said that abortion clinics have to be essentially surgical centers, and they have to have a lot of physical plant and staffing requirements. And the second requirement had to do with the doctors, and the law said they have to have admitting privileges at a local hospital. The Supreme Court said that both of those regulations don't actually do very much to promote the health of women, and they're not worth the burden they put on Texas women and the closures of the clinics that had taken place.
Greg, is there at issue now where the Texas law, will that try to be refined? Is this a done deal now? Will Texas still try to put up some roadblocks?
They may try to, but in terms of this law is struck down. It is gone. And abortion rights advocates are talking rather optimistically about how they might be able to use this decision to strike down similar laws in other states and other types of abortion regulations as well.
But Texas, they put forth the argument during this case that the law was put in place and subsequent regulations put in place to protect women's health.
Right, and the Supreme Court didn't buy it. It looked at the evidence, and it said there's just not a whole lot of evidence that abortion clinics were unsafe and needed these sorts of regulations, and they balanced that against the burden that they saw on women. The law had closed something like 20 abortion clinics across Texas so far. If it had gone fully into effect, another 10 or so would have closed, and the Supreme Court said that is an undue burden. You can't put that much of a burden on the right to abortion access.
Greg, the High Court also delivering a unanimous ruling today. They overturned the bribery conviction of the former governor of Virginia, Bob McDonnell. He had been accused of accepting more than $165,000 in gifts and loans from a wealthy businessman in exchange for some favors. This is something that goes beyond just Bob McDonnell. What are the repercussions for other elected officials who may face similar charges?
Well, we're going to see. It was a big victory for Bob McDonnell, although there's still at least the possibility he could be retried. The Supreme Court essentially said you can't prosecute somebody, even if they accepted a lot of gifts, just because they arranged some meetings or attended an event or hosted an event. You have to show more than that. How that applies to other cases remains to be seen. In the case, for example, of former New York Assembly Speaker Sheldon Silver, his case has been on hold, waiting for this Supreme Court decision. Prosecutors there say they don't think it will have an effect. They expect his conviction to be upheld.
And Greg, could I just ask you in about 10 seconds, what does this ruling mean for Mrs. McDonnell, because she faced similar charges?
It may well help her as well. Again, we'll have to see at the lower court level.